And our study of the Bhagavad Gita goes on in the stories of Krishna, the ancient legends, and some of the beautiful things that we'll be sharing with you. I don't know how many of you really know. I guess in fact, you'll see it on the log up there. In a few weeks, I'll be doing a study on called The Blue Black Boy. That's Krishna. I don't know how many of you know that Krishna was a blue black boy. And if you see a picture of him, he is a bluish black color. That's his color. And he's always surrounded by beautiful women, girls all over the place. And the legend of it is a beautiful thing. And of course, his color being blue and black is simply the peace blue, the darkness, the inner darkness, which is the child. That's what he is. And then he's surrounded by the gopis, which are the cowherd girls, not boys, because the girls symbolize the spirit that takes care of the cows, who change that which is from the earthly into that which is divine, the milk. And so the whole thing then, is a beautiful, beautiful legend. And the legend all starts with all the gopis sleeping, slumbering in their little tents or wherever all over, and then suddenly there from the forest comes a flute and the perfume scent of the lotus and the water lilies, and the gopis stir and follow themselves into the forest, and there they meet the boy, the blue-black boy, Krishna. It's a beautiful thing, and it's all symbolisms of consciousness, because when the flute comes from the forest or when the impulse comes from the right hemisphere, then all of the spiritual aspects of our nature, which are the gopi girls, move forward towards the right hemisphere and meet Krishna. But right now we're at the Bhagavad Gita, and let's take a little bit of time with this and look at it sort of carefully, see if we can get out of here tonight and really learn something of the instructions. Look at 35:1, okay? He, Almighty One, which is your divine personality, who understands correctly the relation of the qualities to action is not attached to the act. Now, that's the one word that I underlined there was correctly. Understand correctly the relation of the qualities, okay? And you'll see this very easily, to action. Okay, and of course there's your word act. But he who understands correctly the relation of the qualities to action is not attached to the act. What the word quality means in this context is the inherent aspects of nature and the divine mind. The inherent aspects are qualities, inherent. Okay, that means it's in you, whether you believe it or not, whether you think it is or not, it's irrelevant. It's in you. It's part of every human species, the inherent qualities. For instance, the divine mind is an inherent quality. In your little Bibles, if you have them, go to page 104 in the New Testament. The rest of you go to the book of John. Page 104 in the New Testament. The rest go to the book of John, and let's look at an inherent quality. Okay? John chapter 14, page 104 in the New Testament. So right away, do you see right here now, we've taken a line and we're drawing a line down between the inherent quality, or qualities, and action. And remember, Krishna is saying that when you understand correctly the relationship of qualities to action, then when you understand that, you're not attached to action. You're not attached to the act. Okay? And let's let this thing act itself out, if you would, and try to find out why or why not. Okay, we're looking at an inherent quality, and we'll look at the divine inherent quality. Take a look at John 14 on page 104, and look at verse 10. Believe not that I am in the Father, and the Father in me. The words that I speak unto you, I speak not of myself, but the Father that dwells in me, he does the work. Therefore, the divine mind is an inherent quality. Okay? Understand that? The divine, Jesus is saying, it's not me here. There's something in me that's doing the work. The divine mind is an inherent quality. Now, what about the carnal mind? Let's go to page 148 in your little Bibles. And if the rest of you go to Romans chapter 7 and verse 20. Romans chapter 7 and verse 20. And look what does Paul say. Now, if I do that I would not, in other words, if I do the things that I don't approve of, okay, it's no more I that do it. In other words, it's not me that's doing it, but it's the sin that dwells in me. So thus the carnal mind is also an inherent quality. Okay? In other words, here's Jesus saying, it's not me who's doing this good stuff. It's the Father who dwells in me. And here's Paul saying, it's not me that's doing this bad stuff. It's the sin that's in me. See? So both of them are not, neither is Jesus taking credit for the good stuff, nor is Paul going to take blame for the bad stuff. Okay? And right here is what Krishna is talking about. When you understand correctly the relation of the qualities to the action, then, okay, you are not attached to the act. Nature and the mind are one and the same. God is mind, God is nature. So look at 35:1 again. When we understand, listen now, when we understand that the good that comes from the person is not the person, but the divine mind, and when we understand that the bad that comes from a person is not the person, but the carnal mind, then we start to become enlightened. Okay? We're not attached to what the person does. We are attached to the origin of the work. We are saying, I understand that what good comes out of anybody comes because of the divine mind, and I understand that what bad comes out of anybody comes from the carnal mind. It's not the person. They are simply acting out what is being, the drama which is being pumped into them through the psyche from either the higher or the lower level. Have no choice. You really have no choice. And that's why most of the things that you do, many times you have second thoughts one way or the other. Okay? And you can talk to somebody that'll blue in the face, you can counsel people, you can do this, you can do that, and do the other thing, but for the most part, you're going to do what you're going to do anyhow. That's the way it is. Okay. So we begin to come to grips with the true reality of existence. Okay, look at this. As Krishna is saying, the act is merely the action and the reaction of the mind qualities among themselves. Something goes on inside of you, and which takes the lead. Either something is coming through the divine mind, or something is coming through the carnal mind, and it acts itself out. And you're the vehicle for it. So you don't get attached to it one way or the other. Most people become very guilty because religion tells them they're responsible. Religion does not understand, no, they're not. It's the activity that has come out of the carnal mind that's responsible. That's why the Apostle Paul says the carnal mind is not subject to the law of God, neither can it be. And then other people will praise people as, oh, you're so wonderful. No, they're not. They simply acted out what happens to come out of the divine mind. Okay. So let's take to action and reaction. If my divine mind sends forth something good, and I say, oh, you know, how wonderful, how generous, how compassionate, how concerned, you will react. And you will have a reaction of gratitude, you will have a reaction of thanks, you will have a reaction of joy, you will have a reaction, oh, you know, I feel so good. See? But on the other hand, if I send forth something bad from the carnal mind, then you're going to react too. You know? Geez, where the heck did you get that jacket? Yeah. You know what I'm saying to you? In other words, I make a statement that's sarcastic, that's critical, and you may sit here and even smile until you get out the door. Okay? Once you get out that door, the smile is gone, and not only that, by the time you hit the seat of your car, not only is the smile gone, you're cursing. That SOB, that's the last time I go in that dump. You know, who does he think he is? And that's the way it is. You're going to react. And you're going to react on the basis of something that come out of my carnal mind of its own volition, basically. What you have here, basically, is Renge of Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. What is the cause? What is the effect? Why did he smile while he was sitting here, get ticked off as soon as he got out of the door, and was freaking out and cursing like crazy when he got into the seat? that was the effect. What was the cause? See? And basically that's what's being taught. It's the law of cause and effect. Now, it's very important to realize, as 35:1 says, okay? Judgment must be made on the fact that the person is acting out an inner quality, and that he actually had nothing to do with it in the first place. What are we looking at now? We're looking at the fact that according to the scientific investigation, a homosexual is acting out from that which is within their brain. Not negative, not a defect, simply a difference. Okay? We have, on the other hand, sent them all to hell, pointed fingers at people, condemned them to eternal damnation, all of these horrible things that we do, not knowing, because all we did was focus on the act. We never understood the quality. And Krishna says, you're going to destroy people if you judge them on the act instead of understanding the quality. You're not understanding the quality of the divine mind, you're not understanding the quality of the carnal mind, and you're reaching conclusions about people. Look what it says in 35:2, okay? Those who do not understand the qualities are interested in the act. See, we say a person is bad. We don't have any understanding of the inner quality that propelled that person to do what they did. You don't know what, for instance, you don't know what situation a person may have been happening to that person at their home. You don't know that somebody might have died in that person's family. You don't know that that person may have gotten a phone call, or somebody is desperately ill, or somebody is sick, or they had a financial loss, or you don't have any idea. See? But something has propelled from inside this type of a thing. But all we're going to do is judge the action. We're never, ever going to understand, because we never even consider what's going on, the qualities, either from the divine mind or from the carnal mind. We have no idea. And for instance, what's one thing you can think of here? Somebody kills somebody. They go to court. Here comes the jury. Here comes the judge. Not guilty. How come? By reasons of insanity. Oh, wait a minute. The initial thing was this person was a murderer. But they found something that the person was not accountable because of something going on inside of their head. There was an inherent quality here that had nothing really to do with the act that was carried out. That person did not, as a person, want to do that, but that person did it anyhow because of something that was stirring within the inherent qualities of that person's psyche. Do you see what I'm talking about? Or not what I'm talking about, what Krishna's talking about? Now that's an obvious type of thing. Not guilty by reason of insanity. Most of these things aren't that obvious. But how can you judge and be in line with 35:2? Let's see. Those who do not understand the qualities are interested in the act, because you've got to raise yourself above the mind, you've got to dwell at the right side, and then you begin to fill yourself with realization that, hey, wait a minute here, everything that I see, what caused it? Where did this come from? I may not want to hang out with this person, but I still have to be very careful, because if I start judging this person, I'm violating what Jesus Christ said to do, judge not lest you be judged, and I'm violating what Krishna says to do. You're judging on the action. You don't understand the inherent quality that's going on within that person's mind. So you're not making a correct... And this is why, we pretty much have ourselves in a mess, because we reach that conclusion of, once you judge somebody who can't help what they're doing, the person goes into a extreme guilt trip, because they've been condemned and talked about and all the rest of this stuff. Look at the next one here, 35:2. Still, the wise man who knows the truth should not disturb the mind of him who does not. That's interesting, because that runs contrary to what Jesus Christ taught, When Jesus Christ said, listen, what I whisper to you here in the dark, I expect you to shout on the housetops. So, what's being said here? There's a feeling of setting example, because as you sit down with people and start telling them about these things, what would happen if you went out and shared with somebody close to you or somebody in this town something of this sort, and they said, well, where'd you hear that from? Oh, Christian Village Church. Oh, geez, no wonder. Don't go down there. You know what I'm saying to you? They absolutely, it doesn't make any difference. If you were telling them something that would save their life, they would connect it with the fact that it came from here and tell you, don't listen to anything they say. See? And that's the end of it. That's the end of it. It's over with. And you can cause people to be very protective of their old ways because, once somebody tells somebody else that we do horrible things down here, and then somebody says, well, listen, this is what you should do. Well, they put it together with the fact that somebody said they do horrible things, so don't do that. And so they put up a wall, and anything that, is going to be said by you or anybody else is not going to be listened to. So you have to judge each situation. But look at page 10 in your Bible, Matthew chapter 10. Matthew chapter 10, page 10, and go to verse 27. And what did Jesus say about this? He told some pretty wild stuff. Jesus Christ went up to people and said, look, if you want to have salvation, you got to eat my flesh and drink my blood. Now you can see all the mothers saying, if you ever go near that nut again, don't you ever go down. I don't want you hanging around near that man. He's a maniac. He's sick. And the mothers are telling the fathers, I don't ever want you bringing the kids near that guy because there's something wrong with them. He's talking in mysticism. He's talking in symbols. See? And yet these people totally did not understand, had no idea what he was talking about, but what they heard was enough to say he's a cult and he's dangerous and we got to stay away from him. Okay. And to this day, most people don't understand what he was talking about when he said you have to eat my flesh and drink my blood. So what do? They give you a wafer and a glass of juice. And people actually eat the wafer and the glass of juice and feel that they've complied with this eating the flesh and drinking the blood. Has nothing to do with it. Eating the flesh is an Eastern expression that means you got to do what I tell you to do. And drinking the blood means if you eat the flesh, if you do what I tell you to do, you will consume the same spirit I consume. You will consume my spirit. My spirit will flow through you. It's the same thing. But what do? We don't. Do we know that? Haven't the slightest idea. We eat the bread, we eat a piece of bread, and we drink a glass of juice, and we come back, and we're very pious, and we've done it. You have done nothing. All you've done is eat a piece of bread and you eat a glass of juice. Baptism the same way. You go stick your head in the water, we've done it. You haven't done it. And that's why the Apostle Paul said to Fakakta with this, stop with this stuff. Stop. Don't do it anymore. Don't do any more baptisms. Don't do any more laying on of hands. No more faith in God because it's got you all screwed up and you are making idols of those things. It's more important that a person goes and dips their head in the water than that they understand the true nature of God within them. They are going to dip their head in the water because everybody dipped their head in the water. That's it. The mob must be right. The mob is always right. So they dip their head in the water, we dip our head in the water. And they figure this is it. I've got to get baptized. Why? Everybody does. But not understanding any more than we understand the actions of the mind, we do these things. Okay? But what did Jesus say? He says in Matthew 10:27. He said, what I tell you in the darkness, speak in the light. What you hear in the ear, preach upon the housetops. Let it out. Tell people about it. There's this thing going on at 1:30 in the morning at CTN. I know a lot of people, most people are in bed at 1:30 in the morning. I'm aware of that fact. But there's still something about the fact that this signal will go into every single house in the state of New Jersey. The motel rooms in Atlantic City. There's nobody going to be watching us at 10:30 in Atlantic City. But there's a pretty good shot at 1:30 that a lot of them have already run out of all their quarters and they're staggering back into their room. And the first thing you do is kick on the television and spin the channels. You know that. Whenever you're in a motel room, you lay on the bed, get the remote, and spin the channels. I'll say what's on. See? So we just may stir something up. I don't know what's going to happen. I have no idea. But look at Matthew 10. Now go to verse 14. You're around 10:27. Go to verse 14. Whosoever shall not receive you, nor hear your words, when you depart out of that house, shake the dust off of your feet. So basically what I think is being said here is don't argue with them. Jesus is saying, shout it from the housetops, but don't get in an argument with them because you're never, ever, ever going to... One person that'll come up to you and argue with you. We were talking about a situation here tonight. It was on television. And some people say, oh, he mentioned his name. Oh, you're saying a name. Oh, it's on television all over the place. Jimmy Swaggart got nailed for $10 million. $10 million for defaming another preacher. In other words, the jury of 12 people said he lied about this guy. I mean, and this guy is up on stage saving everybody. And in addition to that, they had Rosemary Murphy. She was the prostitute, and she's talking about all of these things on television. It's on Entertainment Tonight. That means that goes to all over. And I mean, people are up here taking people's money and telling you how to live. You see, and that's nasty. It really is. It's nasty, and yet people there's like an unwritten code among these people, like there is among doctors, for instance. You don't say nothing about the other guy. You just God will forgive. God forgives everything. That's the thing. God forgives. Oh, the heck with it. God forgives. The heck with it. So everybody's gotten conned. Well, it's okay. Everybody else that cons people is in jail. And these people would be the first one to throw them in jail. But one of their own, God forgives. See? Sure, God forgives. That's not the point. We're talking about the people that have been hurt and the people that are continuing to be hurt by such horrible activities as these people engage in. So you confront people, but you don't argue with them. Tell them the story, but you don't have to argue with them. Now look at 35:3 says, "Therefore, surrendering your actions unto me, your thoughts concentrated on the absolute." Now let's take a look at that. Let's go on this side over here. Surrendering your thoughts unto me. All right? Look at here. Page 93 in your New Testament and the book of John. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And take a look. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Take a look at Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And take a look at John chapter 5. And I want you to tell me, what does Jesus Christ say here? John chapter 5. Okay? John chapter 5, verse 30. "I can of mine own self do nothing." Now, I mean, this is Jesus Christ who said this. I think Al was telling me he saw a program that the preachers were on television and they were criticizing the New Age because they say what we have against the New Age is all of these people think they're God. I don't think anything. I know it. And I know it because Jesus Christ said it. Why don't they rip the page out? It says you are gods and the scripture cannot be broken. I'll take that. Now the point is, who do I listen to? The evangelist on television or Jesus Christ? I'll take him. I'm God, that's it. So are you. Doesn't make me a big deal. So is John, so is Mark, so is all of you. That's it. And the reason that is because he dwells within you, and once you give yourself off to him, the God part of you overwhelms that which is the carnal part of you. The inherent quality of the divine mind takes precedence over the carnal mind. What do they get so bad? This is the thing. They say, oh, you people think you're God. Jesus is the one that said it. It's in your Bible. He said it. So what are you going to do about that? Now look what it says here. Surrendering, Jesus Christ says in here, "Of my own self I can do" what? Nothing. Okay, now go with me to page 104 in John chapter 14. You're on John chapter 5. Go to John chapter 14. Now Jesus had just said that of his own self he can do nothing. Okay, John 14. All right, look at verse 6. "I am the way." Who is? Who's the way? Okay, "I am the way, the truth, the life. No man comes unto the Father but by..." What did Krishna say in 35:3? "Surrendering your actions unto me." Jesus Christ has just said, "Of my own self I can do nothing. Yet I am the way, the truth, the life. No one comes to the Father but by me." Okay, me, now, look, watch, I'll show you something else. When you enter, what did Jacob say? "I have seen God face to face. I will call the place Peniel." Jesus Christ says, if your eye be single, your body will fill with light. Krishna identifies that aspect in you as me, the I am. That's why God's name. Don't you find it a little coincidental that they're talking about me and God's name is I am? So what are you going to say? What is God's name? Who is God? I am. Who is God? Me. But they don't understand. These the people don't understand. They don't listen to this. It is I am. It is me. It is the God and set. Now watch this. John 14:9. You ready for this one? Have I been with you so long, you have not known me, Philip? He that has seen me has seen the Father. Remember, Jesus never taught but in a parable. Okay, all of Jesus talks about, and Krishna says, concentrate on me. Jesus Christ says, he who has seen me has seen the Father. God's name is I am is me. Now it says in 35:3 here of Krishna, surrender your actions unto me, the activity of your mind. How do you do that? What did Jesus say in Matthew 6:25-33? Take no thought. When you take no thought, you are surrendering all of the inherent qualities, the actions, the activity going on inside of you to me. Okay. 35:3. The thoughts concentrated on the absolute. The absolute is exactly what it says, the potential source of all existence. That which is nothing whatsoever can be predicated. The highest above all things, the unknown of all, the master creator, that which is the very source of life is the absolute. Surrender your thoughts then to the absolute, the divine spirit within. Concentrate on the absolute, the universal oneness, that thing which is inherent within you. It's there. It's within you. It's within you. You don't have to go anywhere to find it. It is within you. And you're being instructed from 7,000 years ago to focus on that. And what does it do? Verse 35:3, free from selfishness, without anticipation of reward, with mind devoid of excitement, begin to fight. Free from selfishness. In other words, you rise above that which is your own self to that which is the higher self. What is it simply saying? You rise above the carnal mind to the divine mind. Because how can you be selfish? How can you be concentrating on the lower self when you take no thought? Try it. Go ahead. Concentrate on your lower self, but take no thought. You can't be thinking of your lower self because there are no thoughts. Did you ever think of that? You can't think of that because there's no thoughts, so you're not thinking. And so when you concentrate on that which is the higher self, when you take no thought, then there is no selfishness. The next line in 35:3 is really totally contrary to Christianity. Look what it says, without anticipation of reward. Have you ever turned on Christian television? What do they want? They want blessings, they want salvations, they want healings, they want intervention, they want prosperity, they want it all. And not only that, I've been in places where they'll rave dollar bills and want it multiplied 100-fold. Because that's what they tell them. They always plant one guy to raise a $10 bill. I want this one, man. I'm claiming this is going to be 100-fold. And then everybody starts waving $10 bills. It ain't bad. It's a good way to make a buck. But it's conning people. It's conning people. What did Krishna say? Without reward. This is supposed to be without reward. The instructions are as Jesus says, take no thought if you want to do this on God's terms. You can't be looking for prosperity. Why? Because you're looking for God. God is prosperity. You can't be looking for healing because you're looking for God. God is healing. All of these things, God manifests as these things in your life. Look at this one, 35:3. With mind devoid of excitement, set yourself above human emotion. And that's exactly what religion is. It's teeming with emotion. They're either crying, or they're shouting, or they're falling down, or they're jumping up, or they're jumping over, or whatever they're doing, their emotions are totally consumed in it. If you go and look at sometimes when you get into a mainline type of religious thing like that, where everybody's really flying around, and then turn on a Rolling Stones concert, there's no difference. It's exactly the same thing. You think those kids that go to the Rolling Stones aren't the same way? They got their arms flying. Take a look at them sometime when they show you a rock concert. Turn on MTV and watch the kids. And they're all going like that. And then sometimes when the guy gets into a good love song, they got their candles out and all that. They're totally emoting. And it's the same thing that you'll see at a good revival. It's all emotions. But what did Jesus say? No, that's not the way you do it. He says you take no thought. How can there be an emotional situation for you when you take no thought? There can't be. With mind devoid of excitement, look what he says. Then begin your fight. And that's totally in line with the Bible. Your specific instructions that you'll have to follow if you're going to play it on God's terms. And then fight. Say, that's the fight. And who's the fight against? The fight's against yourself. That's the only person you have to fight in the world, yourself. And once you overcome yourself, you overcome everything. Who you going to overcome? Nobody. It's yourself. But once you overcome yourself, you win. You win. Absolutely win. Focus on the me. Concentrate on the absolute above the... No looking for anything. No asking for anything. No emotional involvement. Everything that religion has told you, you don't do. Krishna says you don't do any of that stuff. You don't ask for any blessings. You don't ask for any healings. You don't ask for anything. You go and you focus totally without any desire for any reward. Jesus Christ comes along 4,000 years later and says, take no thought. And what do? We fill churches where they're saying, how many of you want to be healed? How many of you want to be blessed? How many want prosperity? How many want to be saved? Bring those people up here. You feel any better? Yeah, I can do this. He can do this. There's 16 people in wheelchairs. They can't move, but he can do this. God has been gracious, you know. And then they'll take another guy and put your hand on your forehead. And I don't want to do it because, you know, but, you know, some of these guys really slow. You know, and you're tempted. I used to do it. I know all about how you do it. And if you get somebody psyched up with enough good music, get them really psyched up and they come up frontward, okay, there's not a whole lot to do to put your hand on the top of their forehead and over they go, as long as there's somebody standing behind them to catch them. Okay. I remember one time when Joan and I started in this, the great trick was leg lengthening. That was the miracle, leg lengthening. And one leg, they put, say, all right, set it like this, and one person's foot would be shorter than the other leg. And they'd start praying and all of this stuff, and then you'd start... And I'd say to Joan, did you see that? And then they'd really, oh, we've seen miracles. We have seen God. And I couldn't wait to call this Methodist minister down in Morgantown. Guy, great guy, really guy. I won't give his name, but I called him up. I said, you know, you guys really don't know about this stuff. I saw it with my own eyes. He says, Bill, it's the greatest con game in the world. Whenever you want to make a miracle, get somebody to sit with their legs out. Their legs, one is always going to be shorter than the other. And if they sit there for a few minutes, by the natural movement of the derriere, and it blew my whole thing. Well, I said to Joan, you know, he said it was a con game. And these things started to get into my head, and then I realized, and then I guess the second part of the thing which bothered me is with all of the things of people falling down and being quote-unquote slain under the Spirit, I saw the amazing Kreskin come on the Johnny Carson show. And I was sitting there with my eyes, and I couldn't even blink. And he says, I'll show you. And he brought 6 people out of the audience. You ever seen me before? No. Okay. Lined them up, had 6 people behind them. Okay, Johnny, watch this. Bing, bing, bing. Over they went. Boom, 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 boom. So how the heck did he? I said, wait a minute. He's not an evangelist. How'd he do this? Thought you could only do this if you were... But he didn't push anybody. He just... Over they went. Because he had suggested to them. I don't know how he does that, but I'm saying they did it on the Johnny Carson show, and I've seen a church and a religious experience. Jesus was attached to all. There was nothing but hooliganism. It was just charlatanism. You can see it down at Atlantic City all the time. And so as you begin then, when you see these types of things, and then you study this, and you begin to study Jesus Christ. Oh, come on, if Jesus Christ said this is going to happen, fine. But Jesus Christ said, take no thought. Jesus Christ said the kingdom of God is within you. Krishna says you got to understand. You got to pray without any requests, any desires of any kind. You got to focus on me. You got to focus on that inner aspect of yourself. And these things will happen in your life. I mean, any one of you can sit here in this audience at any time and focus and concentrate on a part of your body. In other words, if I said to you right now, okay, concentrate on your right foot. Just do it. Concentrate on your right foot. Don't look at it. Just concentrate on it. You can send energy there. Right now, you're sending energy down your right leg into your right foot. And it's going. That's what healing is about. That's what healing, sending divine energy. Sending it, let it go cascading down there. Because generally we neglect it and we just allow that which is the energy inside to be uncontrolled. You can do these things by that which is the invisible within yourself. Calling on me. And it says in 35:4, and we'll be done, those who act always in accordance with my precepts. What are the precepts? The precepts of Krishna are exactly the same as the precepts of Jesus Christ. The kingdom, the power, everything is inside of you. And the precepts are, enter within there and allow these things to blossom. And don't go in there with any mindset on getting anything. Allow that which is the supreme to give you everything. You may be asking for a Volkswagen when you're going to get a Cadillac. And you know that I'm putting that in realms just to try to give you an example. I'm not talking in serious terms about that. But sometimes you ask for something which is nothing compared to what actually is available to you. You know what we do? We get so caught, and tell me if this isn't true. You get so caught up in the system that you work for the system. And you work for the system all of your life until finally the system has got you. And you're so afraid. When we were talking last night, that one is a rock singer. I watched him on television, and he's a very intelligent young guy. And his name is Kenny Loggins. And Kenny Loggins was talking, they were talking to him about security. And you know what he said? Security is another word for fear. I thought, wow, that's wisdom. Rock star. Security is another word for fear. In other words, we think our security comes by the system's going to take care of us. Religion's going to take care of us. The company's going to take care of us. They give us the Blue Cross, and they give us the retirement. And we can't do anything for ourselves, and so we are locked into the company. Whatever they say, we do. When they say to show up, we show up. When they say to go home, we go home. When they say you got to do this, we do that. Because what? We are never, ever, ever able to look out and depend on ourselves. We can't. As a culture, we can't, because we've been conditioned by the fact that, hey, we got to have security. Let me tell you security. In my office, I told you about the woman that had the 23-year-old boy that ran into a tree. Bang, like that, killed. I had a young lady, her husband's about 30 years old. Young, dynamic-looking fella, very thin, very trim, eats healthy, jogs all the time. The other day, calls in a huff to his wife at work. He went to the bathroom, there was all blood. Take him for x-rays, got a tumor of the kidney, cancer. Bang, today they took his kidney out. Where's your security? Where's your security? Who's kidding? Who is kidding who? Security. Any day, you never know, you know. Bang, one day you're okay, the next day you're in pain. You got to go to, they get the first aid squad. Where's your security? What kind of security? But when you go to these people with this message of what can happen by coming to grips with the God part of you and acting like God within yourself and allowing them, they never heard of this. People 70 years old, oh, I got cancer. I'm telling them, I never heard of this. I'll do it. I'll do anything. Yeah, I'll do it. Everybody you go to, they've been stricken with all of these things. And that's why, do it now. Noah didn't wait until after the flood came to build the ark. He was building it like crazy long before there was any such thing known as rain. He built the ark. And that's what's up before the storm comes. Sometimes the storm gets so bad, even meditation, nothing. It can't do it. It's too late. It's too far gone. Do it now. Work on it now. What the heck does it take to give yourself 35 minutes or 20 minutes or 10 minutes to sit on a floor? What is that? I'm not asking you to go out and dig ditches, climb poles, cut down trees. I'm saying sit on the floor. Is this such a hard fakakta thing you can sit on the floor? What do? Is this so? And yet you sit on the floor, you do what he says, you do what Jesus says, you do what Buddha says, and the melatonin flows. And maybe that tumor never comes your way because you did what you were instructed to do by God's messengers, and it flushed it away, it killed it. Why not? I'll tell you one thing from our experience, and you know this. Watch these people after they get nailed with this. You'll see how quick they meditate. They want everything. They want all the books. They want all the pamphlets. They want all the tapes. They want everything. They're going to buy a Walkman. They're going to do anything. We sit here, I don't know if I can do this. I'm tired tonight. Get somebody that they've told they got cancer, and you see they'll meditate all day long. It's very easy to meditate, you know. It's just like they say, when you're in a foxhole and the shells are going over, it's very easy to start praying. I don't believe in any God. Our Father who art in heaven. Very easy all of a sudden to believe in God. And that's understandable, but you people should know better, because you come here and you should do it. And I know myself sometimes that getting involved in the things of the day, it causes me to not to do it sometimes. Sometimes I have to just get up out of my chair in my office, put the TV on mute, go lock the door and sit back in the chair and meditate. Because I have to, and I should. I don't know, maybe I give him 20 seconds, 30 seconds. The universe doesn't need more than 30 seconds or 20 seconds. That's all it needs. Okay? Look at this now. 35:40. Those who act always in accordance with my precepts, firm in faith and without cavilling. You know what cavilling means? Raising trivial objections. Well, I don't know if that works. And I had a friend of mine told me about this stuff, you know, and I don't have anything against it, but, you know, my Uncle Fred said you can get in a lot of trouble with this, and so I don't know, you know, and then again, and I don't know because sometimes they play the music too loud down there, and then some other times, you know, it gets so soft, and the guy sitting next to me is snoring, somebody's snotting over here, scratching herself, and all of this stuff. That's trivial. Find a place where they're not. Find a place over there where there is nobody. Work at it. Make it work for your life. Make it work. Krishna never talked about anything else. Jesus never talked about anything else. Jesus talked about the kingdom within, so did Krishna, so did Buddha. When you see this week, on Sunday morning, when we teach Buddha about the animal nature, there's one thing I'll share with you that'll be on there, and this is what Buddha says about the animal nature. You know what happens? You know how an animal gets trapped? You know how an animal gets hunted down? Because the hunter knows his habits. And the hunter knows what that animal's going to do. He knows exactly what time he goes out in the clearing, and he can wait for him. He knows exactly, you know, how he smells the wind, so he can get at the right side of the wind. He knows exactly. So inasmuch as that instinctive animal behavior is predictable, he knows how to kill him. And Buddha says, when your behavior is predictable, others will know how to trap you, ensnare you, they'll know how to turn you on, and they'll know how to turn you off. Because your behavior is animal predictable, and it's dangerous. Buddha. That's the man that you were told not to listen to him. And who told you not to listen to him? The ones who were hunting you.
That's right.
Most of us are already hunted and bagged.
Yes, most of us. Don just said most of us are already hunted and bagged and strung up. How true it is. But yes, advertising. But isn't it interesting though? They know how to turn you on. They know what to say. They know what to make you shout and how to say, make you feel good in church. They know exactly what to say. Even the Bible says they seek out people with itching ears. Yeah, they know what to say. Those who act in accordance with my precepts, firm in faith and without cavilling, without, in other words, trivial objections, they too are freed from the bondage of action. Here's your hope. There is your hope. Okay? To realize that what comes out of you is not your idea at all. It is a cycle, a circle, a wheel that is going on inside of you, spitting out things that are karmic in nature. There are things that are going to come out of you because of your parents. There are things that are going to come out of you because of your school. There are things that are going to come out of you because of a past life. There are things that are going to come out of you because of an astronomical type of vibration, whatever the universe. All of these things going on inside of you, and these things are going to spin off and cause you to do things, and you better not worry about this. You better worry about that. I don't mean worry. Take the word. Concern yourself. Concentrate. Get involved. Understand this instead of understanding that. Don't think that when I do something, okay, it's my idea all the time. Most of the time it's not. Many times that I'll do things I then regret. I know, gosh, why the heck did I act this way? Why did I do that? All of you have the same situation. Geez, I shouldn't have done. And you'll sit, you got so much, you don't know how to say you're sorry, you don't know how to say, I shouldn't have done this, you know, you just sit there hoping something will break and that you can get out of this mess. Why? Because this cycle spun something off and you did something, you said something. Everybody does it. Every single person in here does it. And so then you can understand sometimes when the other person does something, something has spun on the wheel, and the wheel, something has fallen off that wheel, causing that person to do that. Not the person's desire to do it, something happened in here. And they acted out something, a dramatic type of thing that flew up into their brain. They acted it out because of the inherent quality that cut loose. And when you begin to understand that, then you begin to understand why I do what I do, and I begin to understand what you do. We have had things put into our minds. These things have found their way down into our psyche, both divine and carnal, and they spin off and they manifest themselves into actions. And now if we want to change it, if we want to correct it, if we want to set ourselves into the God realm of doing things, then we have to do what Buddha says. We have to do what Jesus said. Finally, let's do this last one, okay? This is it. They who ridicule my word. Now this is Krishna speaking 7,000 years ago. They who ridicule my word, and Christians have to stand up and be counted with this one because they do, and do not keep it, are ignorant, devoid of wisdom and blind, and they seek but their own destruction. Go with me for just a minute to page 7 in your New Testament to the book of Matthew. I want you to see the words of Jesus Christ. And remember, it was Jesus Christ who said the kingdom of God is within you. It's Jesus Christ who said cast your energy to the right side. It's Jesus Christ who said practice the single eye. It's Jesus Christ who said seek within yourself for the kingdom of God. Okay? And Krishna has just said these people who ridicule my word are seeking their own destruction. Watch what Jesus Christ says. Matthew 7, verse 26. Everyone that hears these sayings of mine and does them not shall be likened unto a foolish man which built his house upon the sand. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat upon that house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it. And remember something. Great, go back with me. Stay right there. Don't move. Stay right where you are. Take a look at 24, verse 24, chapter 7, verse. Whosoever hears these sayings of mine and does them, I will liken him unto a wise man which built his house upon a rock. Okay? You know what that is? The ancient beliefs of the pineal gland being of a sandy consistency, but when it's regenerated through the vibrations of meditation, it becomes stone-like, rock-like. And Jesus Christ said, when you build your house upon the rock, which is that, or you build your house upon the sand. Regardless, you have to obey. What did he didn't, hey, look, I want to show you something here. Go back to verse 26. Jesus Christ did not say you had to be born again. Jesus Christ did not say that you have to read this prayer. He didn't say that you had to go to church. He didn't say that you had to give any money. He says, everyone that hears these sayings of mine and doesn't do them. And Jesus Christ spent his whole time telling you what to do. Get inside of yourself. What's the first thing? He didn't say the first thing to do was to be baptized. He didn't say the first thing to do was to read the Bible. He didn't say it was to be confirmed. He didn't say it was to go to communion. He didn't say it was to join the church. He said the first thing I want you to do is seek within yourself for the kingdom of God. That's what he said. First, before you do anything else. And yet that's the one thing that the people who call themselves by his name say, that's evil. And that's the thing that he said is the very first thing he wants you to do. Seek within yourself for the kingdom of God. And if you don't, he said, if you don't do it, he said, what is it? Practice the single eye. If your eye be single, your body will fill with light. He says, people who hear what I say and do it, build their house upon the rock. People who don't are building their house upon the sand, and when the storms of life come out, they're going to crash. What did Buddha say? What did Krishna just say? People who ridicule my word are seeking their own destruction. Do you seem to get a correlation between these two voices that are speaking 3,000 years apart? It's the same thing. Okay? So we'll wrap it up right there in the number 35, and we'll pick it up in next week. See? And we'll go on from there. But, it's a variation on the same thing, and it simply requires you as people, and people in television, people here. We have now, I don't know, I guess we're closing 350, what is it? Do you know what it is?
355 on the board.
About 365 people, families on this television network now. If you put 50 people in, we got over 400 people that attend these services by television and here. Each one, over 400 people watching each one. I mean, there were churches up and down the street there, And what I'm saying to you is the reason that these numbers are increasing the way they are. Let me just stay with me for a minute. What you are experiencing, you people that come here all the time, is you are a part of a nucleus, And it's not unlike the cyclic and spiral motion of the universe, in that, I don't think, and it's not necessary that we're ever going to jam tons of people in here. That's not what we're here for. That we're here to set a nucleus in the very center that explodes outward, that blossoms, You take the nucleus of a bomb, the very center of it is infinitesimal small, you can't even see it, and yet, and this is what we're here to do. And so when I say, we started this thing, a couple of people, couple of routes, we got over 70 some odd routes going out now, and closing in on 400. And all over the country with people, and like today, they're just joining all over the place. One lady just, 2 people, 3 people, and the thing we're sending out with the New Age, people are joining this thing. And so that when you sit here and you say it's 400 other people, but that's today. This is only a year. This is only a year, and who knows? If Mary gets another computer, this thing will quadruple. See. 368, right? So that you're only 32 away from 400. Well, that could be. But I just ask you, please, take, the words of Krishna. And when you come here and study Krishna, you see the Bible and you line up the words with Jesus Christ. There's no difference between those two, because it's the same person. It's the same person. And it's just so beautiful when you yourself realize that here, especially in this age, that you can unleash this magnificent God power to heal, to make right, but far beyond that, to change this universe and to become one with the universal presence, the universal power of God. And who knows what's going to happen. This has just started. This is just starting. Sometimes, this is just like, sometimes like there's a storm coming from the west, you hear a little thunder. Now it's going to rain. That's what it's like now. We haven't gotten to the rain yet. And a lot of times Christianity will say, oh, the latter-day rain and all that. That's Buddhic. Did you know that the first one to call the latter-day rain was Buddha? Shakyamuni Buddha coined that phrase, the latter-day rain. And he talked about the latter day. And he talked about the prayer tower. And he assembled all the saints, and he rose up into the prayer tower. And he sat at the right hand of the Father. And then all of the saints lifted themselves up into the sky. They were raptured. Well, of course, that's all mystical for what we do inside, It's all the same thing. You got a variation of that you read in the Bible, yet they'll tell you stay away from Buddha. See? But embrace all of this, love all of this, be a part of it all. And just plug into it harder and harder and harder. And what I have seen recently with Jonah, the people getting so sick, that I just know that we have an answer, and that is your meditation. Do it. Just keep yourself healthy. And the prime way to keep yourself healthy is to allow that melatonin flow and to allow those constructive divine vibrations within your body to move and channel those in proper ways. Thank you for being